What's up, everybody? This is Brad, and I am not the next DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but this is The Bad Show. Hello, how you doing? So, we got a lot to talk about today. And this time we're going to go back to basics, where I just go right into things with some Fortnite stuff, because Fortnite's been busy. So, let's jump right into things where a few days ago, there was a little bit of an error happened where, the new feature that came out this month was the crew member pass, where, you subscribe to, it's just a Fortnite subscription service. Well, I'm making a last minute change here, so forgive me. I found a better picture I wanted to use. I'll have to fix it in a minute. But anyway, so the subscription service started this month. You get a free skin and pickaxe. You get a free and back bling, I think it is, and 1,000 V-Bucks every month as long as you're subscribed for $12 a month. Okay, that's a pretty good deal in my opinion. And these skins are exclusive to the crew members, so this is the only way to get these skins. Well, apparently a few people who have subscribed got next month's skin early by accident. And it turns out it's DC's Green Arrow. I guess it looks like that was going to be the crew member skin for next month. Now, that caused a little bit of controversy in that one, of course, that the subscription service kind of had a bug in it that gave certain players the skin 2 weeks early. But also that the second skin in this subscription service is a third-party collaboration skin. Now, personally, I know Green Arrow. I mean, I don't watch the live-action show, but I remember Green Arrow from the Justice League cartoon, and I think he's a pretty fun character. I'm not so sure how I feel about this skin looking at it. It's kind of cool, but again, it's based on the live-action version, just like they did with Aquaman. So, I don't know. I like Marvel's approach better, where they stick with the comic book versions of the characters. Which is weird because they just did, DC just did the Last Laugh bundle, and Joker doesn't really seem very realistic to me. And Poison Ivy seems to be, at least from what it looks like, not really super based on reality. She's a little bit more realistic looking than Joker is, but I don't know. I get the Joker. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but just personally, I would like them to try to go more comic book for these skins from DC, the same way they do for Marvel. But I guess that's DC's call. It's not a bad skin, but it doesn't excite me as much. But at least, hey, at least next month, you'll get just to get the 1,000 V-Bucks. So I just wanted to touch on that. I don't know if they've taken the skins back, but I do know they disabled the subscription service for now until they can work it out. I think as long as you already are subscribed, it shouldn't affect you. So, nothing to worry about there. Moving on from there, we got news of a new pack of skins. And by the way, the Walking Dead skins are in the shop now. Just thought I would throw that in there. Master Chief is still in there as of right now. I don't know how long he'll stick around. But, and I guess I should go ahead and talk about it. I don't have a picture to throw up for it before I move on. But Operation, what is it, Snowbound or Snowfall, whatever it is. Snowdown, I think is what it's called. Has started. This is the Winterfest for this year. They're not calling it Winterfest, I guess, but it's fun. Get a bunch of free stuff. 2 free skins towards the end of this thing. The Snowmando, and then another one that I can't remember the name of. It's just basically the second one is just like a wintry female skin soldier, sort of, doesn't look all that spectacular, but the first one you get, Snowmando, actually is a really good skin. He's really cool. I like that one a lot. Hopefully I can get him unlocked and get a video made with him before the whole snowy thing ends. The map has more snow on it now, so that's really fun. But yeah, anyway, the next thing I was going to talk about, and then I got distracted, is we're getting a new Marvel pack. Whoopsie. Let me fix this. Spoiler alert for what I'm talking about after this. We're getting another Marvel pack, which I can only assume was meant for last season, or they were planning these skins for last season, and then for whatever reason it fell through. It's called the Marvel Royalties and Warriors pack, or maybe the Royalty Warriors and Royalty pack. Can't remember which one. Let me see if I can find it. Royalty and Warriors. Okay, so it's Royalty first. This pack will include Taskmaster, who was not discussed previously, not that I saw. Captain Marvel, who was thought to be coming last season, and I think people even found code for her superpowers in the game, but that never happened. And then a character whose powers were in the game and even got a place on the map for him, Black Panther. So what's interesting about Black Panther is that of all the skins we got last season, and all the superpowers that showed up in the game as mythic weapons or whatever, the only hero who did not appear last season who had a power that you could use in the game was Black Panther. Venom's power was in the game for a long time before Venom actually showed up. Thor's power was there. Groot was there. Wolverine was there. Who else? I mean, She-Hulk, Doctor Doom. Supposedly there was something planned for Mystique, but that never happened either. But again, all of the heroes of the last season who had their powers where you could use their power, the only one who didn't appear was Black Panther. And this is speculation on my part, but I think it's because Chadwick Boseman died. I think that they didn't want to put that skin, because I think, if I remember right, he passed away right as the season started. We were just fresh into the season. Some of the points of interest on the map were starting to come in. I think the Black Panther one with the big statue of a panther, I think that one was either the second or the third point of interest that was added. So it was fairly early in the season that happened. So I could understand if maybe they thought, well, let's not look like we're trying to profit off of this guy's death by throwing the skin into the game to buy so soon, because people who love this guy are going to rush to buy it, and it will probably sell very well. So it's now been a few months. I think it's okay to release it now, and it's with a pack, so I think if it was me, I would have made the skin free, because apparently there's also going to be some Black Panther challenges that come with this pack or something like that. I don't know if they're separate or not, or if you have to buy the pack to get the challenges, because one of the rewards you get for doing the challenges is the Wakanda Forever emote. So he does the iconic Black Panther pose, and that's something you can unlock with challenges from as best as I understand it. So I would have made Black Panther a free skin. You do the challenges. If you do all the challenges, you get the skin. That's how I would have done it. That way they couldn't say you're trying to make money off of the game. So, that way you just play if you want to play. If you want to unlock the skin, you get it that way. But I guess this is a better way. It's in a pack of 3. To my understanding, it's $25. I think the date I saw where it hits the shop, it should be the 22nd. A lot of cool skins coming in the game. Like I said, the Walking Dead skins are in the game, now. And there's even a portal on the map that shows where they came in. And I said I'd skip the Walking Dead skins because I don't watch Walking Dead and I don't know anything about it. But I have seen the skins in game, they do look really good. They're good skins. And I'm still trying to figure out. I assume that both Daryl and Michonne. I heard. I think it was, who was it said it? I think it was Kenny from Yo Video Games. I think I saw his reaction. I was watching the Yo Video Games guy's reaction to the Video Game Awards, and I think he actually said her name. I didn't know how to pronounce that name. I didn't know if I should try it or not because I'm terrible at butchering names. So it's I believe it's pronounced Michonne. So her and Daryl, like I said, I don't know anything about either of these characters, but they look good. And again, you know, this whole idea of this giant crossover thing where you've got the Marvel characters coming in, the DC characters coming in, you've got Star Wars characters in, video game characters coming in now, and still you're getting TV show characters. So this is good. And this whole bounty hunter theme is a very good one in my opinion. So this is a very fun season of Fortnite. The game feels different while not feeling, you know, alien, for lack of a better word. It still feels like Fortnite, but it feels like more. And I think I said that last time. But anyway, so here we got more superheroes coming. That's 4 new superheroes if you count Green Arrow. So it is amazing though. Marvel's putting all these characters in this game. So I assume that's a sign that the sales for the heroes are doing very, very well. I know the Galactus event was a big success for them. I can't remember exactly the number. I want to say it was like 13 million people tuned in to watch that event. So I might be wrong on the number, but I do know it was, if I remember correctly, it's their most watched event. So they're doing very well. But hopefully DC can get on the ball and get something happening. I think I'd like to see some more DC characters. There's a lot of Batman characters specifically you could put in there, like, and I'm thinking about doing a video on that, but I'll leave that for now in case I decide to do that. But anyway, moving on. I don't really talk much about Dragon Ball games, but Baby, Super Baby 2 specifically, because we have to be very specific about which form of Baby we're talking about. I guess technically it's Super Baby Vegeta 2 would be the full name, but that is the next fighter for Dragon Ball FighterZ. And there's one left in this season pass after him. So I'm surprised though, like Baby seems to show up in all these games like regardless. And I guess him being the first major villain of GT, and overall I think a good arc for GT, it makes sense that they want him out there. Because GT doesn't really have, you know, that many major villains. It's not a very long show. I think it's 24 episodes. I mean, 64 episodes. 64 or 62 episodes. So it's not a long show. There's not a lot of main antagonists. So like, the other main antagonists are Super 17 and Omega Shenron. So, I mean, I like Super 17 for his. I think he had a cool, like, you know, I think he had a cool design. But I think that overall, I think the story was kind of mixed. In my opinion, Omega Shenron was evil for evil's sake, and not really much depth there. But at least there's an ironic part in the fact that the Dragon Balls were the final, you know, the Dragon Ball served as the final villain of the series, and that was a nice, you know, sort of narrative thing there where the greatest evil in the universe of the Dragon world was the overuse of the Dragon Balls. So that's a very good story, and I'm surprised, like, maybe it's just not in Toriyama's style to write that way. But it would actually, I would wonder how Toriyama would handle that. they're clearly not above taking things that were added to extra, as extra content like OVAs or GT as a whole, where Toriyama really wasn't involved with the writing. They're clearly not above taking things that are outside of the canon and bringing them into the canon, because Broly exists now within the world. Zamasu and Goku Black is almost has to be a reference to that Dragon Ball AF manga that Toyotaro wrote back in the day. I mean, it's Zykor in that fan manga, the AF, shows up alongside an evil Supreme Kai. So that's almost definitely that. The Goku Black arc was certainly inspired by that. It has to be. But anyway, I would be interested to see an arc in Dragon Ball where they address the overuse of the Dragon Balls and how dependent the show is on them, and how no matter what kind of villain shows up, they just unwish the damage and it's fixed. And from what I've read on the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super, they may be doing that again, and I certainly hope they're not, because that would be very bad, because they had done something very good in the current arc with Moro the Planet Eater, and I just hope they don't ruin it. But anyway, baby coming to FighterZ. On the other side, another Dragon Ball game is getting a new character, a game that has been around for several years at this point and still apparently has life. And I'm glad. Pikkon is coming to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I gotta be honest, I didn't even realize he wasn't in the game. Like, a little while back, there was a big sale, and Xenoverse 2 was on sale for cheap, and I bought it digitally, and I was like, okay, I'll play through this for the channel. I got it for like $8, the base game, and then the free DLC. So I don't know if Pikkon's gonna be free or not, but you know what? I'm surprised he's not in FighterZ either. He might be the last character to join FighterZ. He's the most popular non-canon character, I think, besides Broly. I don't know. Like, I actually, going back to, saying, how they're not above bringing in non-canon things into the canon and making them work, I actually wouldn't be opposed to having them make Pikkon canon in some fashion. Maybe have him be a dead ancient warrior with knowledge of the past. I actually wrote an entire, idea of an arc revolving around a planet that, he died on. He was their savior. He was their hero. Everybody loved him. And he took his job as the defender very seriously. And say, somehow he gets killed and Goku shows up to, help save the day. And the Supreme Kai was involved with all this in my idea in trying to, boost the mortal level of his universe. I know I'm getting off a game topic here, but bear with me for just a minute. I've already started. Anyway, long story short, in an attempt to help rebuild their universe after the Tournament of Power, where Universe 7 was the second lowest rated universe, Supreme Kai shows up on this planet. The bad guys are there. Goku and Supreme Kai revive Pikkon to be the hero again, and then Goku, who's super impressed with Pikkon's power, wants to fight him, but Pikkon's like, no, I don't fight for fun. I fight only when I have to, because, I don't want to fight. I fight out of necessity. I want that to sort of be his thing, where he has this great power, but he, with great power comes great responsibility. He doesn't want to just throw his power around when he doesn't have to. He would rather, be at peace. He would rather not fight than fight. But Goku keeps pestering him about it, and my idea is that Goku refuses to leave until he fights Pikkon. So Pikkon's like, okay, fine, I'm not going to fight you. If you want to stay, you can stay, do whatever you want, but, I'm not going to fight you. And Goku's like, okay, fine, I'll just train on my own until I can convince you to fight me. Well, then, what I wanted to happen was have Goku accidentally like break a building or something and almost kill some people by accident, just being, you know, reckless in his training, and then have Pikkon get mad that he's endangering people around him by not being careful, and then agree to fight him as he sees Goku as a threat. But then on top of that, what I would have had happen is have them, you know, slowly scale up the battle power, and then how I would have ended it was have Goku tap into Ultra Instinct, but then also have Pikkon reveal that he knows Ultra Instinct as well, and then have them fight, but the force of their fight is so great that their planet starts crumbling and is in danger of exploding, and so Goku and Pikkon stop their fight to get all of the people on the planet off of it to a new planet where they have to relocate and rebuild their society. So in that conference, so Pikkon confronts Goku after they get the planet, you know, they evacuate the planet, they move all their people to a new world, and Pikkon thanks Goku for helping him to save his people. But it's Goku's fault that the planet was destroyed. You know, it's Goku's fault for pushing for a fight and then not leaving when he was asked to leave, and which forced Pikkon to have to defend his people to get Goku to leave. And because of that, Pikkon has no respect for Goku and basically tells Goku to leave now. I'm allowing you to leave on peaceful terms, in terms of I will not fight you. I will not continue the fight with you, because look what happened to my world. But I have no desire to ever see you again. Do not return to my planet. Do not ever, you know, contact me again. Leave me here. Like, you are a threat to people. You don't take your power seriously. You use it like it's a toy, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And then have him just turn around and walk away. And have Goku be disappointed, but then have like Shin or Whis or whoever tell Goku, like, you know, that's a lesson. Maybe you should learn that. Maybe you should remember that you're, you know, as strong as you are, you know, maybe you like fighting, but not everybody likes fighting. You know, maybe you should be more responsible, which is something I think a lot of fans would actually welcome in the series. But anyway, I got off on that tangent about the manga and the story. And it's not related to video games, but it's related to Pikkon. He's coming to Xenoverse 2. I think there's a good chance he'll show up in FighterZ as well, but he is popular, so we'll just have to see. Now we'll move on to an interview with Doug Bowser that was recently done. Let me see if I can find it again. It was oh, it was with Polygon. My bad. Did I say it was with IGN? I think I didn't say who it was with. I had pulled up an IGN article on it, but the interview was with Polygon. Now, overall, he talks about like Pikmin and Animal Crossing, but the thing that really, the one thing I wanted to talk about there is the discussion on limited time releases. And by that, they specifically are talking about like 3D All-Stars and Mario Brothers 35. Because after March 31st of next year, those games are gone. And he was asked about that. And of why these things are being only available for a limited amount of time. They actually straight out, I think, said, you know, you're releasing these big Mario games that everybody wants to buy them, but then what happens, say, come June next summer when people want to get these games and they're not available anymore? Said that just doesn't make sense. It's like throwing money away. Why would you release a game for a limited amount of time and then just take it away? Because not everybody's going to be able to get it within that 6-month period of your celebration. Anyway, Doug Bowser's response was, yeah, at this point, the decision was really made around that celebration feature and aspect. I can't speak to plans beyond the end of March. That's a very short and simple answer. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading into it here. But basically what he's saying is the reason it's limited is to reinforce the celebration. And once once Mario's 35th anniversary is over, once, it's no longer the anniversary, those games will go away. Now, what I think is going to happen is my theory on Mario Brothers 35 is that they will either rename it or they'll do some they'll either rename it something else. They'll either add more players, and then it won't be Mario Brothers 35 anymore because you're not playing against just 30. It's not one way just 35 player battle royale. They'll either increase the number of players and call it Super Mario Battle Royale or something like that, or they'll just leave it like it is, because they did that same thing with that bunny jump rope challenge thing, that free game. It was a free game. I think it was during September, and then they announced, hey, this is only going to be available for a little while. They even announced, I think, a day or two before they were going to pull it, hey, or maybe it was a week. But anyway, they announced right before they were going to pull it, hey, get this free game before we pull it from the store. Apparently there was so much traffic to get it before they pulled it that they decided just to not pull it, and they left it there. So, excuse me. So I feel like that's what's going to happen. One of those two things. I don't see them getting rid of a Battle Royale Mario game, because Battle Royale games are popular these days, and Mario Brothers is never not going to be popular, so why pull it? But and as far as Mario 3D All-Stars goes, what I think is going to happen is that specific collection will be gone. You will not be able to purchase those 3 games together for $60 after March 31st. What I think they're going to do is they're going to split them up and have them for sale individually in the eShop. And I'm still holding out hope that a Nintendo 64 catalog comes to Nintendo Switch Online like the NES and Super NES. I feel like that's got to happen. There's been no sign of it, but I feel like that's just got to happen. I can't imagine them not doing that. As the N64 gets older and older, it just seems insane to me that they wouldn't do that. They could also just throw Mario 64 on the eShop too and charge $30 for it. Maybe they charge $20 for Mario 64, $25 for Sunshine, $30 for Galaxy, and then they throw up Galaxy 2 later. I feel like that's what's going to happen to the All-Stars games. The collection itself will be limited, but the individual games themselves will not just go away. That's what I think. Because he's like, I can't speak about the plans beyond the end of March. That's I don't want to get into this. So I think they've got something planned, but I don't think it's going to be a full deletion. That's just my reading into it. I could be completely wrong. I always say that too. Whenever I theorize about something or try to predict something, I just go I could be wrong. I fully accept that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting little thing to add. Next up, we'll talk about 2 different things regarding Cyberpunk 2077. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to defend it a little bit, and then I'm going to completely annihilate it. So, get ready for that roller coaster. Somebody on Twitter, they're not a verified account, so I don't want to really mention them. But I'll talk about the issue they brought up and why I think it's not very fair, especially considering the individual. The argument came that there is not enough content warnings on Cyberpunk 2077 for the violence in the game. Specifically, the game's the warnings on the actual game box do not say that the game depicts suicide. uh, give me just a second. This person's complaint is that the ESRB does not have a specific warning that, oh, this game features suicide or sexual violence or whatever. And he's saying that it's unacceptable that the game doesn't have these listed on the box art. And the person got roasted for it. And I don't think that the argument is completely wrong, but it's generally wrong. And this is why, because that rating system is only meant to give you a very, very blanket summary of what to see in the game, because it's impossible to list on those game covers every single potential trigger that somebody may have on the box. Like I think, if I'm not mistaken, the game cases actually do advise you to, visit the ESRB site for more information on a game rating. But the games are rated as the system sees fit to rate it. They give you a very general overview of what's in the game, and it's meant to be brief because they can't just list everything. Otherwise, then the entire game case is going to be filled with warnings, especially for a game like Cyberpunk 2020, where you're talking about a game where there's tons of violence of every sort and tons of sexual content. And then there's also just different things that people may find disturbing in general. I mean, it's basically a game about, like, complete authority overreach. I think that's the entire sort of that's the entire cyberpunk genre is like that. I think I read somewhere somebody said the game is literally called Cyberpunk, so if you don't expect these hardcore sort of extreme contents in the first place, then you really don't have anyone to blame for but yourself. If you go into a game like this and you don't expect to see something, that could potentially affect you in a very personal way. There's also I haven't played this game. I wanted to, and then all the complaints about how the game is just a complete and utter mess. And one of the things that really had me started questioning, everybody was praising it for how in-depth the character creation was going to be and all the different customization options you could have. Apparently the game is in first person, so you can't even see your avatar for most of the game while you're playing it. What is that? What is the purpose of having a character creator built into your game and you can't even see your character for most of it? That just sounds like, what's the point? And then, of course, the whole thing with the PS4 and Xbox One releases of the game, where apparently it's the game, this game apparently has been announced for a long time. Apparently longer than even I thought it had been announced. But the game is basically inoperable on PS4, and I think Xbox One as well. The in-game models don't even render. The systems literally struggle to render these games, and that's terrible. And it was so terrible to the fact that Sony has actually pulled the game from its PS4 shop. I don't know if they pulled it from the PS5 shop, but I do know that they're offering refunds to people. So I would say don't really pre-order a game. So I don't know. It's really sad. But like I said, I think the warning about the content stuff is just it's not reasonable. It's not a reasonable argument. Maybe it's something like supposedly the actual full page for the ESRB from the ESRB on Cyberpunk does have a more detailed list of all the things in the game that people should be careful of. Apparently, suicide is not on there, so I do think that is an issue that should be addressed. But because the site overview is that's your big source, and you should be expected to go there. I don't see why anybody would just look at the cover of a game and buy it. You know, you should know what you're buying before you buy it. Don't buy something blind and then be, upset that you didn't like what was in it. It's like I remember going to like the little fair when I was a little kid, and you go up and you play this game where you pick a mystery grab bag. You can have any bag you want, but you don't know what's in it. It could be this toy, it could be that toy, it could be this piece of candy, or it could be this piece of candy. You don't know what you're gonna get, so you can't really be mad when you grab something not knowing completely what it is, and that's what you picked. So I do, like I said, it's a concern. Yeah, people should should have a way to look up what's in the game, if they really if they have those worries. But then also, I think that the call for having, super detailed listings of every single potential offensive or troublesome thing, and troublesome may be a bad word, because these are legitimate things that people have to deal with, and there should be a way for people to look up the information on these games. But I think that just putting it on the game box is not the answer, because they should have detailed listings on the site, which is the site's purpose. The small little warnings in the corner of the game box they serve their purpose. It's a very general warning. Because theoretically, you should already know what Cyberpunk is before you even pick up the game case anyway. And again, this is a game rated for adults. But I don't know. I just feel like that's just not the right answer. Especially something like where they were saying like, there should be a warning on it that says like, there's depictions of rape in the game. Like, you really probably don't. You should probably just let, strong sexual themes or sexual violence, like in a more obscured way, let that serve the purpose it serves, is to be a blanket. Because if you put depictions of rape on a game case cover, you've killed the game. It's not going to sell. Because even if you, I think even if you just put that word on the game case, it's just not going to work. So, and just generally speaking, I think people are smart enough to know what these ratings mean. Like, I saw the argument that intense violence covers both Doom, which is like very fantasy oriented but still very gory and violent, and the more realistic violence of Cyberpunk, which would be like the depictions of suicide. But yeah, that's the point. It's intense violence. It's not going to be specific for you, but if you wanted to know about that, like if you know what Doom is, then if you've seen any Doom trailer, then you know what kind of violence you're looking at. The same way with Cyberpunk. Like, people are smart enough to put two and two together on these things. So it's an issue that I think there's some tweaking that could be done, but I don't think it's a major issue. Not in terms of like the solution that was offered on that is not the right one. A more detailed and more accurate summary of it on the ESRB's main website is what you should do, and every game case should direct you to that if you have further, and should say, hey, for more details, visit our website. I do think that's actually on these game cases. I'll have to get up and check that later. But anyway, moving on now to something a little bit more fun. Sephiroth. Sakurai did a demonstration for Sephiroth in Smash Bros. Yesterday, which was very nice. Character looks very cool, very fun. He even went into detail as far like one of the things that people were very upset about when Cloud was added to Smash was we only got 2 songs from Final Fantasy VII, and when Cloud was brought over for Ultimate, that was all we got too. Those same 2 songs, nothing additional for Cloud. And he was talking about the music. There are now 9 more tracks being added to the Final Fantasy VII stages in Smash Brothers. So now that makes 11. Some, including some from Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy VII film Advent Children. So you're getting some film music in this game now too. But Sakurai even took a moment to explain what was up with that, and he explained how copyright law and everything, and how getting legal permission to use certain songs requires certain conditions to be met. And I assume that means like they could copyright law is incredibly complex, and like one of the things he explained was like in some cases we only need permission from one company to use the song. In certain cases, to use a song, we have to get permission from every company that owns some part, partially owns the rights to the song. So even if, like, say, the ownership of the song is split between 4 companies, if you get permission from 3, but the last one says no, or you can't get in touch with them or whatever, then you can't use that song. And it seems incredibly complex, and I'd say needlessly complex. But like that just stuff like that just sometimes like legal rights stuff is just so insane, and we'll get into that a little bit more in the last topic that I'm going to talk about today. This is going to be a long show. But like one of the situations I could think of where he was talking about how certain characters have to be in certain games or whatever for certain music to show up. And I would assume that means in regard to Sephiroth, you couldn't have one-winged angel in a game unless Sephiroth is a character in the game. That seems to make sense to me. Like I get it and it makes sense. You know, like why would you have one-winged angel? Is it winged or winged? I've heard mostly people say winged, but I've never heard people say it that way casually. I've always said winged. Anyway. Both may be correct, I don't know. But anyway, you probably couldn't have one winged angel in a game legally unless Sephiroth is a licensed character as well. It's probably a bundle. Like if you want Sephiroth, you gotta have one winged angel. Maybe that's like a deal. If you want Sephiroth in the game, you have to put his song in there. Or if you want that song, you have to have Sephiroth. So it's like a package deal. You get one, you got both. So I imagine that there probably are crazy legal limitations like that out there. That, you know, that makes sense when you think about it, but at the same time, they seem overly complicated. Like, beyond any reasonable level. Like, why can't we just have the song if we want the song? You know? Even if you, like, I couldn't imagine anybody would want to have Sephiroth without One Winged Angel playing in the background, but maybe they did. Why wouldn't you just be able to do that? But, yeah, ownership laws can get complicated when it comes to copyrighted stuff. It's weird. But, a surprise that came along with Sephiroth is the Sephiroth Challenge that's live now between now and the 22nd, which is when Sephiroth is set to go to drop as DLC. Now, the Sephiroth Challenge is you get to have a one-on-one boss fight with Sephiroth set at either easy, medium, or very hard level. So you either get the easy fight, the medium fight, or the very hard level. There's not a hard. It's just very hard. This is a limited time mode that only runs from now through till the 22nd. If you beat Sephiroth in this mode, you unlock him early. So you don't have to wait till the 22nd to get Sephiroth in your game. But you have to beat him first. So Sakurai said, he's a boss character. He's one of the most iconic video game bosses. To just simply add him to the roster seems like it would be doing a disservice, especially considering how big the roster is. So he thought it would be appropriate for a legendary boss character to have a boss mode in the game. And I think that's a very nice little touch that makes Sephiroth special. And if they could do things like that going forward for the last 3 characters, that would be pretty cool. But I doubt we'll get another boss character like this, especially one that it does have the reputation of being like one of the most iconic video game characters of all time, like Sephiroth is. But this is nice for this character. I have to do that. I plan on doing it. I plan on playing it on hard mode, a very hard mode, to see if I can beat Sephiroth. My brother actually was the one to beat it yesterday, so I have Sephiroth in the game already unlocked, but I wasn't the one to beat it, so I've got to beat it. And and I'm gonna do it with Mario, because Mario got thrown away like trash in the reveal trailer, so he's got to get revenge. So I'll be doing the challenge with Mario, and I will not stop until I've beaten Sephiroth. But look forward to that. And of course, new Smash character means I'm going back and doing their classic mode and their spirit board. So that'll be fun too. Now I'm going to move on to the last topic and try to not make this a very long one. There's 2 different topics involving Twitch. Or involving Twitch, I guess. First of all, the dumber one. Twitch has decided to ban the words virgin, incel, and simp. Now, it's not a hard ban, it's like a soft ban. So you can say those words, but if you use them in a way that they deem to be that they deem as harassment or bullying, they can ban you from your. They can take action against you, which I would assume would just mean a ban or a suspension. But as people pointed out, the issue seems less to be with the fact that they've decided to ban some words, which I still think is silly. Like, this is a word. Like, I'll get into the specific words in just a second. But it's that Twitch has a reputation for being very selective with the way they enforce their rules. And there are certain people on their service who break the rules all the time, and nothing ever happens to them. They get, they suffer no repercussions for breaking the rules, even if it's an accidental break of the rules. Like, people have, maybe if somebody didn't realize they were doing something that they shouldn't have been doing, they still got a suspension. But the really popular streamers, they let them slide, it seems. And there are several that appear to get special treatment. But as far as like the words themselves, like, okay, you can't call somebody a virgin as an insult. Okay, that one seems a little, I get it. You shouldn't criticize you shouldn't make fun of somebody for whether they've done it or not. That seems kind of unfair. And I get it, but still, like I think it's just generally accepted that calling somebody a virgin as an insult is, like, says more about the person who's using it as an insult versus the person who's being insulted. So it's kind of like, if somebody does use that in a degrading way, you're like, sort of, in a way, you're kind of begging to be mocked back. Like, it's just like a hack insult. Like if you can't think of a good insult when you're like trying to dunk on somebody, and you resort to, well, you're a virgin, like, that just seems like, oh yeah, dude, like get out of here. You've lost. Like nothing you say at this point. You've exposed yourself. You have no creative, comeback better than that. Get out of here. Incel, that's a highly politicized word, and I don't even fully understand incel or what an incel is. As far as I know, like I don't know. It's something to do again with virginity and stuff. I think it's got more to do with incels or dudes who either who want to but don't get to do it or something. It's supposed to be an insult, but then apparently some of these guys out there actually identify as that or something. I don't know. I don't fully get it. I mean, I guess if you want to ban that word, I rarely ever even say the word incel, so I don't even. There's way better insults out there, I think. But anyway, the last one, simp, that one just seems I thought that was a gag insult, when anime fans call each other weebs when somebody does something more nerdy. If I call an anime fan a weeb, I'm dunking on them to a point, but I also have anime figures and anime games. So somebody else could turn around and say I'm a weeb and they wouldn't necessarily be incorrect, but I generally only reserve saying somebody's a weeb if they're I learned Japanese from watching anime. I want to move to Japan because of the anime. I don't watch cartoons. I only watch anime. You better not say anime is cartoons because it's not. That's a weeb. That's a weeb to me. But even then, it's sort of a gag insult. You never hear somebody outside of the anime fandom call somebody a weeb. You don't hear that. So, a weeb is like anime fans' insult to other anime fans. So, simp just seems like such a. I've never seen anybody take that term seriously. I've always just assumed it was a gag thing. Anytime you see some dude that's bending over backwards to impress a woman, and it's just so, it's really, really over the top. And it's oh, that's a simp. I don't know. It just seems overblown. But anyway, that was just a short little story. The bigger one is the big let me see if I can find it again. The big thing with hang on. Gotta find it because I want to make sure I read the right thing. And I can't find the page. Anyway, there's a new law being proposed by senator in the U.S. I believe he's a Republican. Yeah. I'll read this one from Variety.com. Senator Thom, I guess it's Thom or Tom Tillis, seeks suggestions for reform of Digital Millennium Copyright Act. What this senator is proposing in this new law is any streamer who, say, uses footage of a copyrighted film or movie or plays music that is copyrighted without permission, he wants to see doing that. It's already supposedly illegal, quote unquote illegal, because you're supposed to, if you're going to use copyrighted material, you're supposed to get permission from the rights holders before you use it. But he actually wants to make this law that would say if you're streaming a video game, which I would assume video games are included in copyrighted material. So if you stream copyrighted material, that should be considered a felony offense that you should serve jail time for. Think about that. Think about any time you've watched a streamer. Now, look, a lot of the streamers, I don't watch many streamers personally, but the few that I do watch, they don't play like licensed music in the background. I've seen them play it a few times, not for like a long period of time. But think about somebody's just streaming a video game in their house, trying to play and build an audience and interact with people. Maybe somebody decides, you know what, I'm going to go play the song I heard today. It sounds like a really cool song from this band I like. They just released it. They play that song. Maybe they play the whole album. And you hear that in the background while they're talking, while they're playing a video game. So you've got video game audio combined with this song that you're playing, combined with your own voice. At that point, the song has been so distorted by the other elements going on in the thing that you could not sit back and say that this is an acceptable, unapproved airing of it, because you can't hear the song by itself. But imagine that guy or that girl or whoever is sitting there playing a game in their house. They've got some music playing in the background just for mood or whatever. And then they get sent to jail for that. How insane that somebody thinks that should be a federal offense to play a song in the background of your live stream. Even worse is that a lot of these mega, media companies have signed on to it, and they view him as a champion of their rights. Like, that's insane. Like, first of all, anybody who knows anything about, like, the music industry knows that bands and artists hardly ever have control of their own music. It's very rare that you see a band retain control of their songs. Like, most famously, Taylor Swift got into a very public fight with the rights holders of her songs, and she was going to, where she announced that she was going to re-record all of her old songs because the label that owned them would not let her use them. And that just seems insane to me. I'm trying to remember how I felt about that at the time, because at the same time, you kind of like, you don't want to feel too bad about like this incredibly wealthy, super popular celebrity who's got more money than she probably knows what to do with. You don't want to feel too bad for her. That's not saying she's a bad person, but I mean, she's wealthy people. They're not hurting. They're not hurting. But at the same time, you don't want to see a company who had nothing to do as far as like creating this art that she created have control of it. And sit back and say, well, yeah, you wrote this song and you played the song, but it's ours, not yours. Like, that's just stupid. And that's all, like, these copyright acts are in place to do. They're to protect the companies, not the artist. So, yeah, like, the idea that, like, you could go to jail for playing a song in the background of your stream, that's just crazy. And if, like, the copyrighted material applies to video games too, it's going to kill the entirety of game streaming. Like, streaming video games, which it may not kill it because, with the exception of, like, Nintendo, all the other game companies are like, yeah, sure, please stream our games. Now, where this ties into, though, is, like, stuff like the Fortnite event, bringing that back up. They played an AC/DC song during that event, which means that your video is going to get demonetized. And say maybe the record label decides they don't want to support that video anymore. They don't want that song out there in that video after a certain amount of time. Well, guess what happens? You better take it down. And that's just, it's so wrong. and that gets into the whole deal with licensed music in video games too. Like I still believe at this point, like some of these super big game, like in my opinion, the game studios that have enough money to license these incredibly expensive songs have enough money to have people write songs for their games specifically. Like, there's no excuse. Instead of just throwing it out there, throwing that money to a song that doesn't need to be in your game, that you could pay a writer to write you a song that is specifically made for your game that you would then own. Like, the studio would own the song. Like, why would you not do that? Like, I get, like, into the Galactus event thing with Fortnite. Like, okay, it's supposed to be a direct reference, like, the fact, I think somebody said that Tony Stark is, like, it's part of his character that he likes AC/DC. And apparently in every Iron Man movie, they play an AC/DC song. It's something integral to the character of Tony Stark, as far as I know. So, okay, I get it. But if they didn't put that song in there, would people have had less of an... Would it have made the experience, you know, would it have taken away from the experience? No. Like, I think it makes it fun, and it makes it more accurate that, like, hey, we're bringing in more little tidbits and little Easter eggs, you know, for you guys from, you know, the Marvel world, Marvel lore. You know, here's a little something. And it's cool, but it's unnecessary if it's going to hurt people in the long run, you know. So, this lawsuit is dumb. And from what I understand, most people seem to suggest that it's going to get thrown out. Just in the digital age where everybody's streaming stuff and people are left and right, you know, are trying to, you know, and considering this guy's a Republican, what's going on with, like, the idea that, hey, you're stomping on entrepreneurial spirit that somebody can't do a live stream and maybe they have a song going in the background that you can barely hear over their own voice. Like, that seems to be kind of like the opposite of encouraging people to branch out and start, like, trying to build you know, an image for themselves or whatever. Making a product of some sort. I mean, it may not be a physical product, it's entertainment, but that's still your product. That's your content. Your content is your product. And you are your own salesman. So why would you stomp on that? And like I said, this is mostly just affecting regular people. Regular, everyday people. Some teenager decides they want to do a stream of their favorite game, like, of them playing with their with, like, just some friends, and they decide to stream it. They get like 10 viewers at most. Oh, well, you gotta go to jail. Sorry. You played that Britney Spears song, that Taylor Swift song. You played Travis Scott in the background. Uh-oh. You played Breaking Benjamin or Papa Roach in the background. Oh boy, you played Metallica in the background. There's a good one on music rights and all that. Oh, Metallica. But like, yeah, like, and people were joking, like, okay, what does this do for, like, games specifically, you know, or about music? Like, somebody made a gag video where and posted on Twitter where they were playing Guitar Hero, and they were doing the guitar sounds with their mouth, you know, that, like, you know, you couldn't hear any of the actual song from the game, and it's just the sound of plastic buttons and somebody doing air guitar noises. Like if you built up an audience, people would probably watch that. Like, if you had already built up an audience, people would watch you do that. But, like, some random person who nobody knows about does that on stream, and they're not going to get an audience from that. That's not going to happen. But, it goes to show you that, like, these people in power Give them the chance to exert more power over you and more control, and they will take it every time. Every time. The chance to limit you. And the thing is, like I said, it goes against like that particular party's beliefs of like trying to grow a business for yourself because you didn't do it the right way. This label company that is worth millions and millions of dollars, they don't want me to have a chance. They don't want me playing a song that they might own the rights to in my live stream that somebody may turn around and then donate $2 to me because they like watching me play a game. Like, don't let me get that $2. Oh, it's just the injustice. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the way like the wealthy and these gigantic corporations are so protected. It's crazy. But anyway, that's going to do it for the show, though. I've ranted a lot this episode. I had some praise and I had some theory. I got in a lot of different topics. I talked about my own Dragonball fan fiction there. Talked about talking about how game development is just crap. Talked about Smash Brothers, Fortnite, and got into some legal stuff there. Stuff with stupid laws or just power-hungry politicians. So that's some fun stuff to think about. But that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. My YouTube channel hit 25 subs, so that means there's going to be a stream at some point. Trying to figure out what I'm going to play. Hoping it'll be... I'm recording this on Friday. Maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. I don't know if... Hopefully... This will probably go up tomorrow. But, just so everybody knows, in case you don't know, like, I have crappy internet. It takes forever to upload stuff. And this is an over an hour episode now. So, who knows if it'll be uploaded through the, tonight. I don't know. Hopefully it will. But look forward to the show. Hey, I may even do the stream before this goes online. That's just how it happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you later.